It's fun for kids to build a robot out of Legos. And imagine how furiously their imaginations are at work, theorizing about what that robot's going to look like. These children are learning a traditional South African dance. These are the world-famous South African Soweto gospel choir, who always dance as they sing. Imagine what it would be like if we could guide the discovery process of our children to thinking and dreaming that one day their dances could be performed in front of a great world leader like Nelson Mandela. And this is what I mean when I say is that if we would allow it, the children themselves will build the world bridges we need. Not to textbook descriptions, not to labels, but to the real cultural reality of other peoples in other continents. Katja Bozy, who's the executive director of Star Education, grasped this long before I did. Her children have just won the opportunity to perform dance in China. Now, what's more important in this world than the relations between the United States and China? And what's a better way to approach those relations than that? In LA's Best, which is the largest of the elementary after-school programs in Los Angeles, kids are studying landmines. You know, there are landmines in many, many countries. What's a more profound, what's a more value-filled way of introducing kids to the horrible realities of this world than doing that? Now, play is important because it also involves risk-taking. Hide and seek, kick the can, running bases, capoeira. All these games involve children taking risks with their friends. It isn't the end of the world if they don't make it to base before someone catches the ball. They become comfortable with taking risks in social interaction. They control their decisions. They could tell a CEO the truth. We've been condemned in after school for allowing kids to play, haven't we? I think if that was the only thing we accomplished, and we do much more, but if it was the only thing we accomplished, that is to make schools safe places for children to play, we would be doing our communities a huge service. Now, in all of this, think how wide and fundamental is the role of imagination. A child's imagination is at work in every aspect of experiencing life and learning. Children picture themselves walking. What's it going to be like as they practice this new skill? They listen to stories and imagine what is real and what is fantastic. We forget that the fantastic is important. My wife and I really like India, and we were in Darjeeling just a month ago. It's so rich, its history is so vast, its culture is so deep. There's such wisdom and warmth, a warmth that we all saw reflected in Slumdog Millionaire that walked off with the Academy Awards just recently. In Darjeeling, this is the great hero, the incredible Tibetan Nepalese Sherpa mountaineer who helped Edmund Hillary in the first successful attempt to climb Mount Everest. Can you imagine climbing that thing? What a monumental task. What imagination, systems analysis, engineering skills, and risk-taking were involved in that successful attempt. Our guide in Darjeeling, a former Sherpa himself who's organized mountain expeditions, said that Tenzing Norgay could neither read nor write. Now, going to bet with you guys that Scholastic has a book on climbing Mount Everest. And I say that because they put out books that we should be sharing with their children about neat things, neat experiences, adventures that they themselves could gain. Anybody can take me up on it? Here it is. Now, children have their own risk-taking stories, their own homes and neighborhoods, their moms and dads working 2 and 3 jobs to support their families and at the same time doing everything they do for these families. They're certainly heroes, just like those guys. To grasp what we know about children's minds, I want to compare the process of learning to speak to the process of learning to read, because I think this, more than any other comparison, brings forth the understanding from the research, the looking at the child's mind. Now, through talk, we learn everything, don't we? Through asking questions, from our first words. It's key, isn't it, to how children learn to, you can't stop a 4-year-old from asking questions. Now, this talking is very resilient. Children learn to speak under all kinds of situations. And their concepts about the world also develop under all kinds of situations. So that basic discovery of learning how to speak and of concepts are resilient. Virtually all kids learn to talk without explicit instruction. You all remember your own children. When they're 6 months old, the sounds that children make could be in any language, anywhere in the world. When they get to be 1 year old, those sounds are beginning to be the tones of their own language. And they've lost those distinctions of the other sounds. And this process of learning, this systematic process of learning, continues right on down, exactly the same way, whether you're born in Bel Air or a Neolithic tribe in the East Philippines. So this commonality of language acquisition is very striking when you think of the huge differences between languages and cultures. And as much as parents may wish to go to the store or go to some company and buy a learning thing that would accelerate this process, it isn't on the market. You can't do it. And do you need to? So children have this natural ability when they enter schools to be completely aware of their own surrounding, a complex skill. They can speak, they know what's happening in their families, their communities, they know what's going on around them. They have this huge innate desire to learn more.